welcome back to Bookmas. My name is Brooklyn and today's video is going to be a wrap up of my 2023 reading statistics. I'm not really one for statistics, as you probably know if you follow me on here, because I do psychology and I hate statistics. It's the one thing that I just cannot grasp for the life of me most of the time. And yeah, I'll be glad when I'm done my degree purely based off statistics. But this is different because it involves reading and books and looking at what I've done for the year. And I really want to see these numbers and these graphs and the bar charts, the pie charts and all of that, because I really want to look back and compare next year so I can see how much my reading has developed and changed throughout an entire year. Because I didn't do this yet last year, I wasn't on Storygraph, and I made a point to join it this year so I could do this, because I'm very, very interested to see how I read, see if I can change it up a little bit and read more diversely and across more genres, and maybe read just something different next year, which you will see in my 2024 goal video for reading in my channel. I really want to broaden my horizons and not just stick to the classic good old romance book. I want to read a lot more genres, a lot more authors, really diversify my reading. So we'll see how that goes, but for now I want to share with you what I got up to this year, and you really won't be surprised. I wasn't surprised at all. I feel like I was just surprised by one thing, and that's about it. Also, it may be a little bit off because when I did this, I didn't realize that it had doubled up on some books. So the statistics will be a little bit out, but that's okay. So the first one is this one, a very colourful pie graph. And it says I've read 95 books. I haven't. Those types of things are just going to be a little bit out, but I pretty much have nearly got there. And then 31,631 pages. That blows my mind. That's a lot of pages. I feel like half of them are from Zodiac Academy, but it's all good. And Sarah J. Maas, but that's all good. And then this is interesting for me. Well, this is not at all surprising that my highest type of mood in books is emotional, because I'm emotional mess. But I thought that was quite funny that emotional and lighthearted were the biggest ones, because they kind of contradict each other, but that's fine. And then adventurous, I don't find my books very adventurous. I very clearly pick safe books that nothing adventurous really happens in them. I guess fantasy would be the only really adventurous books I read, so that must come from there. But I found that really funny because I ain't doing any Jumanji type reading over here. Not much tense, can't do tense. Lots of dark, that would be Haunting and Hunting Adeline for sure, and maybe the Hooked series. Not very many challenging books. That was something that I actually, challenging and informative, I really would like to read more of, because I don't want to just stick to these comfortable books. I want reading to like be a safe haven, but also sometimes push me to learn more things and be confronted by things I don't want to face. Because yes, it is a tool of relaxation, enjoyment and all of that, but I still want to constantly be learning, and not all of my books need to be about the cutest romance to ever exist. I would like to actually learn something every now and again. This one was pace, and I found this quite to the point, like it makes sense. Lots of fast paced and lots of medium. Most of the romance books I read are always fast paced. Sometimes it just takes me a little bit longer because I'm in between books, or I just take forever to finish a book. But yeah, this was very non-surprising to me. Page number, I wasn't expecting such a high amount to be under 300. I feel like that's the Kindle Unlimited novellas and maybe the graphic novels I've been reading this year. but most of the books I feel like I pick up are always chunky. I don't know where all these little books are coming from. They must be from my Kindle or from reading all these graphic novels. This one was also not surprising to me. I need to read more non-fiction. I picked up a few memoirs this year, and that is really the only type of fiction I read, and I want to change that. I want to read more psychology books, and I tried to push that on myself this year, but I just didn't follow through with it. I rented out a lot of books from the library. Like, I borrowed a lot of books from the library that were regarding psychology and studies and all of this stuff that weren't like actual textbooks. They were just to be enjoyable, to not enjoyable, but for reading purposes, that I could read over like a week or so, and it wasn't too dense or anything, but it would help me further my understanding of books and everything. But yeah, I just didn't really read that much of them as I wanted to, but that's okay. That's what next year's for. That's the plan, to keep moving forward. Okay, it cut out, so it may be a bit all over the place and the video might be crooked, but we're gonna go on. Next is the genres, and this one was the one I was most interested in having a look at. Not that I would be surprised by the amount of romance that I read, totally not surprising, but this is the one I want to change the most next year, hopefully. I'm surprised science fiction was that much. I don't really know. Some books may be classified as science fiction that I didn't realize were. The only one I can really think of is right here, Project Hail Mary. That was a big science fiction book that I read this year. But other than that, I don't know. I didn't really think about the fact that I was reading science fiction. I might have considered it as like fantasy maybe. But yeah, I don't really like that genre, so that's not something I am typically gonna reach for next year. I just don't have that relationship with it. I don't connect with it like I would potentially with other ones. Erotica. We're not talking about that one. Young adult. I think I read a lot more young adult than I have for a few years. That has been quite nice. I've actually enjoyed the young adult that I've read this year, so I might dive into a little bit more next year. What I would really like to pick up is more psychology books, as I was just talking about. Also literary fiction, more classics. I have so many classics on my shelf that I have been meaning to read and would have loved to read this year, but I just was on my romance high, so yes. Also thriller and mystery is something that I really want to read. I think I dove into it a little bit more at the end of this year, and yeah, I kind of realized that I would really enjoy it, especially like cozy mysteries and maybe like, I don't know, cozy mystery fantasy or cozy mystery romance. Like, I can mix my genres together to find books that I am going to really enjoy, instead of just reading specifically one genre. I feel like I can put all these genres together, find subgenres that make incredible books. Like, there's so many books out there that have all of these things combined that I haven't found yet, so I'd really like to find some of those books next year. Then this next one, I don't know how representative this is of my actual format of reading, but I feel like I read a lot more audiobook this year, and I just haven't recorded it as audio. I think I need to do that a lot better next year, so I can really see what type of reading format I do tend to lean towards. But yeah, I think I've read a lot of audio because it's just so easy to multitask, and I'm really a type of person that loves to multitask and doesn't like to waste time. It's really bad. It's something I'm trying to change. I need to just chill sometimes. But even just listening to an audiobook and doing Sudoku or a puzzle or colouring in or something like that, I do enjoy a lot. Also Lego. I did a lot of Lego this year while listening to audiobooks, so that was fun. But yeah, I think I can't read as much if I didn't have audiobooks, so they do save my life. They are a big part of my reading experience, and I'm not getting rid of them at all. I wanted to read more physical books on my shelf, and from this it looks like I have, but I don't know about that. I've read a lot of books that I've physically received this year, but not books that have been on my backlist TBR. Yeah, it's mostly just newish books that I read, so I really need to get through my physical TBR before I buy any more books, and I think I've really realised that recently, as my shelves are pretty much full. And then digital, I'm really loving my Kindle this year, as I've got my little setup in bed for it. I think it's the most relaxing time of my day to lay in bed under the covers with my little remote and click my Kindle along, and the Kindle Unlimited books that I've been getting are like amazing. And also just reading on the go is so much easier with a Kindle on my phone and stuff. So yeah, I think a mix of these is really great, but I would like to lessen my physical TBR a little bit more next year instead of just buying heaps more books. It's okay to buy, well, purchase Kindle Unlimited books for free and audiobooks from Libby. That's totally fine as well. It's not like I'm spending extra money on these other formats. I'm only really spending money on physical books, and I am reading them, but not as quickly as I would like to. I don't really tend to reach towards them as quickly as I do Kindle Unlimited books. Most read authors was quite funny. Ruby Dixon. I feel like this is almost inevitable with the amount of books she has, and I've read, I don't know, I think I've only read like 9 of them this year, which is like a lot more books than I've read from any other author, so it makes sense. But yeah, I thought it was quite funny. This probably won't be the case next year. I don't think I'm going to keep reading these. I'm just like not vibing with them anymore. It was quite fun to begin with, but yeah, they're kind of all starting to feel the same to me, and I just don't care anymore. So yes, she may not be on here next year. Ashley Rostek, I loved this series. I read it all this year, and I read it with my friends as well, so that was awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely be picking up anything she releases in the future, so I love that she's on here. Emily McIntyre, tried a few of her books, not for me, but did have a good time reading Hooked with all my friends. And then yeah, Anna Huang, you know, there's more to come. I've got one more left. Tessa Bailey is always going to be on there. I will read anything that she releases in an instant. One of my favourite authors of all time. And then yeah, Caroline and Suzanne are going to be climbing up that as I finish the Zodiac Academy next year, hopefully. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all with these authors, and they're pretty much all romance, besides C.S. Picat, which is also romance. That's because I read so much of F.R.I.E.N.D.S. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. These are my authors. I quite like that, but I want to diversify because I always lean towards these authors specifically. So I want to find some new authors that I haven't discovered yet. Whereas these ones I've had in my mind for quite some time. So yeah, it's a very cool graph. Number of books and pages. I feel like this is when I fixed the number, so it's a little bit less than what we had initially. You can see November, very high. Get a Clue was to blame for that. Not to blame, but yeah. We started the month off really strong, and I feel like it is inevitable for me to go right down in the middle of the year. I don't know why, I just find it very slumpy at that time. Maybe because it's winter here, I don't know. And because the start and the end of the year, I'm more like on holiday, have more time to myself, have more time to read. Yeah, that might be why there's a trend there. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was quite consistent in the middle of the year. But I don't know, it's a lot of books. A lot of books, a lot of pages. Here's my star ratings. Not surprised by this. I am a sucker for a 5-star read. I feel like I need to not lessen it, but these books that I'm giving 5 stars, they're not all the same, and that's going to happen because not every 5-star is a 5-star in the same sense. but there are books that like seriously give me 5-star feels, whereas other ones I'm like, I really enjoyed this, I had a great time, but it's not like that major 5-star feeling. So I think I need to like think about it a little bit more before I just go ahead and read something instantly, because yeah, I find my feelings towards books change drastically from between when I finish a book to when I have thought about it for like a day or two. So yeah, I need to like think about this a bit more, I think, and it really shows that I tend to rate quite highly, but I did read a lot of good books this year, so it's not entirely incorrect. Those are all my statistics. I had such a great reading year, I really did, and I really enjoyed pretty much everything I read. There were only a few books that I didn't have a good time with, and yeah, I had the best time, and I can't wait to read even more diversely next year. I love that this really shows you everything you need to know about your reading type, personality basically. So yeah, I feel like this is very representative of the year I've had, and hopefully it will be very different next year in the good ways. We don't want it to be like opposite, read nothing and only read romance or something. All for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're enjoying Bookmas so far, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye.